this experience, the knowledge, the resources, the tools, the relationships has made me not only a happier person with less anxiety, it's made me a better mother. I'm able to be more present with, you're gonna make me cry.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
Here we go.
Dollar
Check
bill,
this shit.
yo.
Before we start, I want to name why this conversation matters. This is another special recording of real client story, but it's a different kind of story, a different kind of journey, really. This client has never done one-on-one coaching with me. She chose the group program. Not just once, she completed it twice, back to back. So, this conversation is about what it looks like to grow in community, to revisit the same tools at a different stage, and to stay because something is working, not because you're stuck. At YoungRichRooted, we don't believe transformation only happens in private rooms. A lot of healing and a lot of momentum happens when you realize you're not alone. Welcome to the stage, Lita. Thank you for being willing to share your story. I want you to feel like this is a conversation, not an interview. So we're going to talk through your experience, your growth, and what changed for you along the way. So let's start at the beginning, because a lot of people are curious about group coaching. Tell us, what made you decide to join the group program in the first place instead of trying to do this on your own or choosing one-on-one coaching?
Well, I think that there's kind of a buffer in my mind as far as the commitment piece when you have a group. And then subconsciously, I must have known that there's also kind of silent built-in accountability, because I'm not just missing a meeting with you or a coaching session with you. If I were to flake on you, everybody would be looking for me. And for something new, and this being class, I knew that would be a good fit.
I love that. I love that. You got like 10 times the accountability, because if I don't call for you, one of your fence sisters are going to be like, hey, sis, I ain't see you in class yesterday. Where you been?
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. So tell me, what was going on in your life or your finances at the time?
Okay. So
The first time.
the first time that I took the class, I was right in the middle of a homeless experience, like living in a shelter and everything, just the most unstable that I've ever been, right? Financially. But I did have wherewithal mentally and emotionally. And I just knew I didn't know how long the experience was going to last. I didn't know what it was going to look like to get out of it at the time. But what I did know was that I did not want to go through it again. What I did know was part of how I landed there was impairments from ADHD. And a big chunk of that is a big chunk, but not the bulk of it, was financial. And the part that ADHD plays in finances for me. So what I knew was you had the tools, you're willing to give them away. I needed the tools so that I could make this a one and done thing, that I could make sure that if we ever got in a situation where it seemed unstable, that I knew I had something in my pocket. I knew I had resources. I knew I wouldn't just be completely lost.
Yes, yes, yes. I love what I love about what you said is you had a lot of self-awareness for the season that you were in, that you could sense that something was not quite right. You knew that your ADHD played a factor into it, and you were at a stage of almost like sick and tired. I don't know what I need, but I know I never want to be in this situation again.
Right.
And so you were open, more open probably than you might have been in the past when the situation wasn't quite as extreme, to an unusual setting, which was a group experience. So what were you hoping the group might give you in this experience? Or did you even think
I didn't consider it really until I was in it. I think most of what happened with it being a group setting was subconscious. I just knew I needed to get in this class. If group was coming up next, I need to be in the next thing smoking.
So your first time through the program matters because
Yeah.
that's where people are usually figuring out what they need.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience like the first time you went through the group?
Mm-hmm.
What surprised you and what felt challenging at first?
Okay.
So take me on a journey of what it felt like. Because I imagine that you guys feel something the night before. The
Mm-hmm.
first time you're getting ready to log in,
Mm-hmm.
that there is this feeling. You're about to
Okay.
go into this space with a
Okay.
group of women
Yeah.
that you don't necessarily know, and you're going to learn what you're not really sure exactly what's going to be covered. What
Mm-hmm.
does that feel like right before, then in the beginning, and then as you go through to the very end? What was that
Okay.
like for you?
So, because of what I was going through at the time, the class gave me something to anchor myself. So, as I'm looking forward to the class, I'm looking forward to having a way out. Maybe all the other things that I try, maybe all those efforts might not pan out because so is life with ADHD, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that there would be resources that I never heard about or thought of. I knew that there would be insight shared that maybe my mind wasn't open to. And I knew there would be a challenge. And I was in a place where, I had my boxing gloves on, like fights were coming and I had to be ready for them. So I welcomed whatever challenges, even though I didn't know what they were. So there's a little bit of like excitement in that.
What was it like going through the journey? So I'm imagining like how you feel the night before. Were you thinking about the women? Were you afraid of speaking out loud in front of people
Okay.
and telling
Okay.
pieces of your story? And at what point did that change for you?
My mind is racing. That's why I'm having you repeat this. Because there's
Okay.
so much. Like the experience was so rich. There's so much to pull from. So I was excited to do it. And then once we got up there, you just jump right in. We started going deep within. I was like, ooh, maybe I'm not ready to share with these women the exact place that I'm in. I would like to learn this with them. So I want to go on a journey with them this way,
Mhm.
but maybe I'm not as ready to be vulnerable as I thought I was.
Mhm.
I felt comfortable with you. I felt safe being vulnerable with you,
Mhm.
but it's just a very raw place to be,
Mhm. What point did that shift for you?
It shifted. Um, mm, it shifted when I saw that we were all in this class because of a, what do you call it when the Venn diagram crosses?
Common, shared.
Yeah, like a common experience. We all got here because we either have ADHD, we suspect we have ADHD, our lives are being affected by this thing, and it's being affected in this certain specific way.
Mhm.
That's the thing that brought us all together. And I felt validated. It's kind of like when you have an experience that you think is so crazy, and then somebody else tells you they've been through it too. And you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm not crazy. It was kind of like that. And so then I began to relax and let my guard down and open up more, which of course then led to me getting more out of the experience.
Yeah. I feel like watching you guys, the week that I start to really see y'all bond in a way that's like, I feel so seen, is when we start getting into doing the ADHD assessment and you guys start talking through the obstacles. For
Yeah.
the first time, I'm watching me too, me too. Oh my God. It's like life has been gaslighting and you were starting to think you were crazy for what you were
Yes.
doing with money,
Yes.
how you were responding,
Yes.
if you weren't picking up calls from bill collectors, like why it was hard to have certain
Yeah.
conversations. And then you
Yes.
see a classmate or one of y'all fin sisters sharing something, and I could see y'all light up around the room.
Let me tell you, opening mail had been such a shameful part of my life. And when somebody, I don't remember who it was, but when she said that she hated opening mail and she avoided it at all costs, and she had a pile of mail that she hadn't been through. I felt so seen, and I felt so optimistic from that point. Like, okay, I'm not the only one working through this. So there's hope.
I love that you chose the word optimism, because I always tell people, when we do the wellness check, and for those who are watching the replay who don't know what that is, there's probably a blog article or video somewhere about the wellness check. But I do a wellness check with all of the group members and my one-on-one clients. And when you guys do that wellness check and you're ranking yourself, in the 4 zones of how you feeling emotionally, physically, mentally, and financially, I always say when we get to the financial part, that it's not about how do you feel, like how much money is in your bank account, because how you feel about financial tasks is not about the balance. It's about how you feel about your capacity to execute on things related to your finances. Do you feel anxious? Do you feel optimistic? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel intimidated? Do you feel afraid? Like, do you feel proactive or do you feel reactive? Are you avoiding it? All right. Do you have that energy? And so if you're feeling like avoidant, procrastinating, and anxious and overwhelmed, just thinking about your finances, just logging into your bank account makes you feel overwhelmed, and you're feeling like a 1, naturally, I know that the fruit of that is going to be that you're going to have a lot of financial problems as a result of that, because you're probably not paying bills or catching things. But if you get to a point where you suddenly have this shift where nothing's changed in your bank account, but you suddenly feel more optimistic, I know that you're going to have improvement in your finances. So you could feel like a 5 financially, because the way you feel about your capacity to tackle your finances is different. That means you're going to be doing all the little things you need to improve it. That means that you're going to be applying for jobs. That means you're going to be advocating for a raise. That means that you're going to be logging in and noticing that you need to transfer money from one account to the other account, right? Because you're not avoiding, because you don't feel overwhelmed and anxious. But you got to know if a task is making you feel overwhelmed, so that if you need support for that. So just the fact that you were like, oh, hearing other people say that they feel this way, nothing changed in your bank account, but you changed.
Right. And that happened a lot. That happened repeatedly, every single class, every single week. Small things and big things. And even when I started the class, I had both jobs, right? I think. And then my transportation became an issue. So it was very up and down with the finances. But after we got going in the class, maybe like 2nd, 3rd week, I felt steadily good. Like I have no way of knowing how many times I felt like a 1, but I don't think it was as often as it has been for the bulk of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's powerful. One thing I hear a lot is that people don't realize how heavy it feels to do money alone until they're not. Meaning they don't notice it until they're around, and then you're like, I always thought that approaching your finances with someone else would feel heavier, because you would have that burden, that shame, all the things we tell ourselves that managing your finances around a community will feel like. It ends up being not true, that they realized that it was actually heavier when they were carrying it alone than it was when they shared the experience with people who were on a comparable journey as them. What did being in a community change for you emotionally and mentally compared to doing it by yourself?
So what happened was, now, first cohort, I didn't get to know anybody because, I was vulnerable, I was raw. I didn't know how much of myself I wanted to expose or my situation besides to you. But as we're going through the exercises and we're doing the activities and we're doing the root work, when we first get on and somebody shares a victory they've had, I was able to share in that with them. So I might not have made progress this week, but I felt like because she did, I feel like I made progress. I feel like we are doing something. We are doing something about this problem we've had for so long. And it just lifted my spirits.
Wow. I didn't even think about that part. I'm aware that you guys get to celebrate the wins of others, but not that you get to adopt their wins for yourself.
For sure.
And that is powerful, that you
Yes.
feel like, we got the job.
Yes,
That is how
exactly.
I feel for y'all when you
Yeah.
guys send me text messages, sidebars, and tell me
Mhm.
about your wins. I'm
Yeah.
excited like it's happening to me. Like I am legitimately out of my mind with
Mhm.
joy whenever I get this small, like the littlest to the biggest. That's why I always tell y'all,
Mhm.
please post in a group, DM me. You can never bother me with too much good news. I don't care how little,
Mhm.
how big it is.
Yeah,
I like that. It fills me up. It's like gas in my tank. So I love
absolutely.
that you got to feel like you were winning before you were winning because you got to watch your friends. And also how
Mhm.
amazing of an attitude that is to have, because sometimes some people struggle to see other people winning when they're not yet. That
Mhm.
they have a hard time seeing somebody get to a place they're not yet. It makes them feel like less than, or that they're failing because somebody is moving faster than they are, but you never saw it that way. And because your mind setting is of abundance.
Well, I think because so before the homelessness, I was depressed, very depressed, right? But I changed environments and that damn near went away. So now I'm in this different environment. I have this new opportunity being the class and to learn things and to build skills that I haven't had before, which could lead to a totally different life for me. So, number one, I needed something to cling on to. It gave me a lot of hope. And so I needed them to win just as bad as I needed to win. I hope it's coming through.
No, yes, I needed them to win
Yeah.
because they were feeding your hope in
Yes.
yourself. It's like
Yes.
if they win, you could believe more for yourself.
Oh my God.
Like they're a step ahead of you, but they're still like, if you pull up from here, I can believe I can get here. And then when I get here, I don't have to work as hard to believe I can get here because I watched you do
Exactly.
it from here.
Exactly.
And this is why I think it's so important for people to tell their story in the middle. A lot of times I hesitated for a long time with financial coaching because I didn't feel like I was at the finish line. I wasn't at the promised
Mhm.
land where you feel like you should only be here when you can reach back and say, I'm a multimillionaire. Like I
Right.
didn't have any value until I got to the end. And
Mhm.
God corrected me quick, fast, in a
Mhm.
hurry. You have value if you're in front of somebody behind you. And in
Mhm.
fact, when you're so far away, sometimes it's harder to help
Yeah.
because you're so emotionally and mentally disconnected to where they are right now. You don't know
Yep.
how to communicate with them. You
Yep.
can't empathize with the issues that they're having. And
Right.
so you get to help from the messy middle because you're still further along. Where
Mhm.
you are right now, you might not feel like you're exactly where you are right now, but there is somebody who is looking at you right now, Lita, and saying, when I saw your story, I had absolutely nothing. I didn't even have a shelter to be in. I dreamt of a home, of a shelter.
Right.
And watching you go from being in that transition to having a home of your own, that was inspiring for them.
You
And are
saying
you
that?
where you want to be?
Okay.
Still no, but you have so much value to add to somebody about how to navigate that part, the part you just did.
Yeah. You said that the first time, and I don't remember if I gave you resistance out loud, but I know there was some in my head
Tell
because
me
it was
about it now.
important. Right. Now that we're here, it was a paradigm shift because you're absolutely right. We can all teach each other.
Mhm.
We can all help each other get along further if we're just a step ahead of the person. Because if I don't have the knowledge to get to the next step, then I can't get to the next step. But if you do, then you might just change my life with that one thing. So that's something I'm keeping here forever.
Whew, I love this. Thank you so much.
My
Okay, so
pleasure.
here's the part I really want people to understand. You chose to do the group program
Hmm.
back to back. In
Hmm.
fact,
Hmm.
before the first cohort even ended, in the
Yeah.
middle of it, you
Yeah.
was like, I want to take it again.
Yes.
Like, I'm not done yet. I don't know what we're going to do in the next couple of weeks, but I
Hmm.
already know I
Hmm.
want to do it again.
Hmm.
What made you decide to repeat the cohort?
So there was a certain level of engagement that I wanted to have emotionally and mentally. And because being at that shelter was so chaotic, it was so unnerving. I knew that I wasn't able to absorb everything that you were given and everything that was being shared in the group. And I felt like for the breakthrough to really happen, that was something that I needed.
Mhm.
And I realized I was distracted. I realized that I didn't feel one with the material. And
Mm.
that's what I needed to move forward with confidence that, okay, I know what to do. I know what she's talking about with every step. And so I needed it to become real for me. I needed to become very personal. I love learning and I love taking courses. And I can go through a course and then it's just some knowledge that, my ADHD brain is sitting on, some more knowledge. But I didn't want that to happen this time. I wanted it to become a part of my life. And I felt like I definitely needed the experience all the way through. I needed to rethink the things that you had us think about at the beginning and all the way through until I could hear your voice in the back of my head. Those things would just pop up for me when I'm faced with the situation that we're addressing in the class. So, yeah, I felt like I needed it to be integrated into myself.
I love that. That's that deep knowing of like, because I've had experiences like that where I'm in class. I have a feeling I'm supposed to be learning this, and I'm
Yeah.
frustrated because maybe the noise around me, so I can't
Mhm.
fully be present. And I
Mhm.
want to be fully immersed in the experience. And I know, like, I'm imagining, like, if I'm getting this much value from being barely here, I can't imagine the shifts
Mhm.
that will happen when I can fully lock in. And
That's exactly where my head was.
so I'm glad that you decided to do that and everything that was like I'm not leaving nothing on the table. I'm leaving here with something that you
Exactly.
decided to go back and get what you needed, but also that you were in a different stage of life. Like the first time you took the class, you were
Mhm.
in the transition home. And then the second, you've got your home now.
Mhm.
So your frame of reference, the stuff that you could
Yeah.
apply when you don't have a home and utility bills for yourself. So
Right.
even when you're doing like the budgeting stuff, is a
Right.
little different when you're in that living situation than when you're in
Mhm.
the situation that you have now. So
Mhm.
you tell me from your own mouth what felt different the second time through.
Exactly that, the integration part. So there's the first time we're going over the budget and we're laying out our bills. I'm allocating for hypothetical bills. But this time, now that I'm in our place, I'm like, okay, I better pay attention. I better be here.
I got
And
real.
I better be accurate. I better pull my numbers because we got to get this right. So I was able to, what do you call people that learn by doing and with their hands?
Kinesthetic learner.
Yes, very much so.
Same.
So that gave me the opportunity to be able to do that. I was learning by doing this time, not learning in theory, which, you know, in hindsight, I wouldn't undo that. I love the fact that I had it and then I could incorporate it.
Mhm. It probably also gave your brain, and with ADHD, because we also often deal with like a lot of anxiety, it gave
Hmm.
you kind of like it made your brain probably feel safer when you
Hmm.
had to actually apply it because you kind
Hmm.
of knew what this process was going to look like. Now it was just doing it. It was like, okay, now I know
Yes.
what I'm going to be doing. I don't have to live in fear of what's next. I know the next step now. So now it's
Yeah.
just like I'm have some company to do the next steps with. That
Mhm.
probably made it easy for you to apply once you're actually having to use your real numbers.
Yes.
What else felt different the second time around?
The second time around, it's interesting because I wish I could go back and be more vulnerable with that cohort. I realized pretty quickly that I would have gotten more out of it. So I was able to be more present, right? Because the distractions were a lot fewer. And when you tell us to connect with our Fin Bestie, I was like, okay, I'm here. Who is she? What's she got going on? How are we like? How is this a common experience for us? While I wanted to do that the first time, I just didn't have the capacity, right?
Mm.
So the second time, I was just more open and receptive. I was in a place where I could be more receptive,
Hmm.
and it turned out great.
I'm going to tell you this: if there's a most improvement award to give, it's in this zone right here because
Mhm.
I knew coming into the first cohort
Mhm.
how and afraid you were about bringing people into your story. Like it was a
Mhm.
lot, like even just the sidebar
Mhm.
one-on-one conversations, they get to a place of trusting me and knowing that I was a safe space for you
Mhm.
to divulge where you were to come into a group experience was going to require a deeper level of trust. And I saw the literally almost like your body language even changed from
Yeah.
cohort one.
Yeah.
Eventually you started to come out of your shell, but physically
Mhm.
you were in this shell.
Mhm.
And cohort two, I will never forget your body language on the first day. It was like, hey everybody, so I'm like, your energy was
I did
like, listen, I'm here. Let me tell y'all what I got going on with me. I'm not afraid to like,
Yeah.
and you actually set the tone. And I
Mhm.
appreciate you because you set the tone for that cohort of what it feels like, that it's not scary, and I'm throwing all my stuff out here so y'all can throw y'all stuff out
I
here.
was so excited. I was so excited because I knew what they were about to get. I was excited because I knew how it could help them. I was excited because I knew that they didn't know how deep you were about to go. And if any of them like
Y'all
deep,
gonna cry.
right? Yeah, you're gonna cry. You're gonna feel open. You're gonna have some days where you're just very, very pensive, and a lot of times breakthrough don't feel good, but
Mm.
it's gonna be so worth it. And I was just excited to like bring all these people in and have them share that.
Yes, you were a good big sister. And that's the really cool thing is you got to be a big sister in normally a cohort. I always think of like the community feels very sorority-ish in the way I call y'all. We're a big Fin family.
Uh-huh.
And in your cohort, that would be like the equivalent of your line, like if
Uh-huh.
you were pledging, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the cohort that comes behind you are y'all little sisters and you big
Mm-hmm.
sister. And so you have
Mm-hmm.
your original line, your cohort one,
Mm-hmm.
and you came in a cohort two and you got to be a big sister to a line you were also going through it with. And you really played that role so well because you definitely gave big sister energy and making people feel supported and encouraged inside of that community. And also being very present with them and not feeling like I did this before, so I don't have to show up the same way. You seem to develop deeper relationships in this cohort. You and your bestie
Mm-hmm.
took Finn Bestie to heart. So we got the y'all Finn sisterhood, but then I pair y'all up to make sure that
Yeah.
y'all have more intimate
Yeah.
accountability between calls and even
Yeah.
after coaching it because cohorts ended. And you just told me
Mhm.
today that y'all were talking about doing, what did you say y'all were gonna do? Thinking about doing together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Accountability
We're
wise.
gonna body double and go on walks
So the fact that y'all
for
have
our mental
extended
health.
beyond your finances and you guys have
Yeah.
nurtured this relationship where you have a
Yeah.
genuine friendship from this
Yeah.
and you guys are supporting each other's now fitness goals and just
Yeah.
general life goals, like that's the vision that I
Well,
have.
it's for our mental health
Mhm,
because I realized the value of vulnerability this time around. And
mhm.
that's why I said I wish I could go back and be more open with them because when we connected after the class, we got on a call and we just kind of, learned each other a little bit. And I was like, man, we have so much we could learn from each other. And we were in the cohort. So we're learning from you and we're learning from each other. And we could just make it all cohesive. And I was just so excited about that. And she was too. And I think that's why it's just become such a rich experience between us.
Yes, I love that. I have absolutely loved watching y'all relationship and how y'all support each other with the homework assignments and between sessions. I could tell, like, when y'all come together, I could tell, even with the idea of your Fin Bestie wanting to redo the cohort as well. She was like, but I don't want another bestie. We locked in like y'all can have extra. You can add to the tribe. It's not gonna be just the two of you. You don't gotta give up Lita
It
in
was
order to
so
be able to.
unexpected. I kind of expected it to be like a work relationship, the kind of work relationship that y'all are cool. Y'all are real cool at work, but then it stops. And then you go back to work and you're real cool. But no, this became the kind of like work relationship where we cool at work and we go in each other's houses and we watch each other's kids.
Oh,
And
I
I had no
love
idea.
that's such a great example, a great analogy, because
Mhm.
that is the exact energy that I wanted. I know that the risk is you guys are going to do this 8 weeks together. Y'all are going to share. We're going to be
Mhm.
present. And then 8 weeks is going to end and there's going to be more work to do. You're not going to
Mhm.
make the total transformation in 8 weeks. I come in setting y'all up like, listen, let's not be delusional here. Take y'all 8 weeks to get here. It ain't going to take y'all 8 weeks to get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm putting you on a path that you are going to continue long after cohort ends. And I know one of the main things that you need to be successful is support. So I am giving you your first levels of support.
Yeah.
I am giving you me inside of this community, the bigger community, and then I'm giving you a bestie to attach to for the long haul. So that even after this, even after you outgrow all of this and you're reaching for bigger goals, you understand the formula for success and you're able to execute on that. And so it's important that you genuinely try to cultivate these relationships that are going to help take you to the next level, because you're not going to get there by yourself.
That's one of the things that the books, the podcasts, the YouTube videos, the classes, the workshops, that's one of the things that had never been addressed that my ADHD brain needed to know very, very badly, was that support is such a big part of working through this. I know that I only started to make significant changes once I truly just settled in to the idea that I have support. Settled into the idea that it's okay that I need support. It took the shame away. And the shame it's so debilitating. And that's something that I saw, like when you spoke on it, I saw everybody have a little epiphany. There's so much shame that comes with ADHD, and not being able to do things the way that other people do it or the way the society is set up for us to do them.
Yeah. Woo. Listen, you segued us right into a really important point, right? Dealing with shame, dealing with insecurity, not seeking support. And gosh, I love that you said it's not even just about the awareness, but the expectation, because you had to get yourself comfortable with the idea that the support would be there. Even when you knew you needed it, even when you wanted it, your brain had been trained for people to fail you. And so you wouldn't even give yourself a chance to expect the support to be there.
Right.
And you had to get yourself used to the fact, like, oh, they really gonna be here every Monday and Wednesday. They're gonna show up. You like, these things are gonna happen. I am going to have the support. And so that your body, once you don't no longer have to fight their presence, then you can actually just utilize them. But if you're still at war with the idea that they're going to be there in the first place, you're using so much of your mental energy. When you go to do the task, you halfway burnt out.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happens. And it just, showed me how we're all connected. Even if we don't know each other, we're all connected. And we can go so much. What's that saying? We can go further together. It's cliche, but it's so true, especially for us.
Yes.
So that was a very special part of it for me.
One thing I talk about often is how women, especially Black women, learn to abandon themselves, survive.
Yes.
And then we double down and abandon ourselves even more to take care of everyone else.
Yeah.
Group spaces can either make that worse or help undo it. Do you feel like being in the group help you treat yourself differently or make decisions from a place of care instead of pressure?
Absolutely. I felt very alone in the whole being homeless situation, but in the group, it's like we all had this wound that we were tending to together. And so I could relax about getting hurt in the first place.
What changed about how you talk to yourself now?
You know how they say when you give somebody advice, it's typically the advice that you need?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. We share certain things as they come up with our finances throughout the weeks. And I wouldn't want my fin bestie saying, as I corrected her several times, I wouldn't want her saying certain things about herself to herself. Then now, that's what I'm thinking when I hear myself say that to myself. That shifted.
That self-talk, that inner bully quieted.
Yes.
And now you check in the bully like, who are you talking to? And that's such a good point, because we have so much grace for others, so much grace for their situation. We can have going through the exact same situation as we're going through. The way we would walk them through that problem, the way we would talk to them is so different from the way we talk to ourselves about the identical problem. And it's one of the reasons why I often tell you guys, to make yourself your own best friend, meaning have an outer
Mm-hmm.
body experience with you in the problem versus you, the
Mm-hmm.
best friend of you. On my personal page, I got an alter ego. Whenever I'm going through a problem and it's like I'm having a hard time facing it, how can I help her? Am I afraid to make a phone call? I'm never afraid. That the things that I'm afraid to do for
Yeah.
myself, I'm never afraid to do for somebody else.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? That's easy. That's light work. Like, what? You need to
Yeah.
go ask, they owe you some money? Like, take care of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, you lost a job? Don't worry about it. Let me tell you why they're not even qualified to have you. I'll run down a list of reasons why it don't matter. But for myself, I had a lot of inner bully talk. And so
Yep.
I love that you talked about how you're now able to talk to yourself the way you would talk to your fin bestie about the problem, because you've already always been good about talking to your peers about it. Now it's like you're gentle with you. You're literally loving yourself back to wealth. It's in the name.
Literally. Brilliantly, it is. One of the biggest and most immediate takeaways was the part about self-care. I can feel the emotions coming up.
Let it
It
go.
really, it really changed my life though. When you don't have a place to live, when you don't have a place to go, and there's others around you that have acclimated to this being their everyday. They have acclimated to this being their personality. This is their story. There's a temptation to do the same because we're communal people. So maybe I don't have to worry about how I smell today because clearly it doesn't matter here. They treat us like animals anyway. Why should I care? But when we started taking the class and you let us know, and I want you to say it, I want you to say it exactly how you say it, but you let us,
Financial self-care always begins with actual self-care.
so that told me that I can't take care of myself if I'm not taking care of myself. It showed me that when I do take care of myself, I want to take care of myself. When I do take care of my physical self, I want to take care of my finances because I feel better. I do take care of myself mentally, emotionally, which I was reminded when we did the check-ins every time. That made me want to get my finances in a place where I can say I'm taking care of this. That forever changed me. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so happy that you got the connection, that no one of them can be disregarded. What I usually see people do is they abandon their care for money. We're made to believe in hustle, grind,
Right,
sleep when you die, blah, 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 right?
right.
And you're not as efficient at making money when you don't feel well. So it's counterproductive to
Mhm.
disregard. You are your greatest income producing assets. We're out here trying to figure out where can we find an asset that's going to make us money. You
Mhm.
are your greatest income producing asset. That's why the best investment you'll ever be able to make is in yourself, in your body, in your health, in your
Mhm.
mind, whether that's learning new things, taking care of your general health. What is the point of having all this money that you can't do with because you don't have your mental or your physical health to go with it?
I tried it, the hustle thing. I burnt out. I tried to work and not care about taking care of myself because it's a means to an end and we got a goal and we got to keep pushing and we got to keep grinding. But number one, that's not how women are built.
That's
That
not how
is
humans are built.
agreed, agreed. That's not how human beings are made. That's not realistic. It's not sustainable. So I inevitably what happened, I started to suffer physically, emotionally, mentally.
And then eventually,
And then I started to do things to try and supplement that, try to compensate for that. Coping, escapism. So what suffers? Finances. And then
it,
we're just doing this.
exactly, it will lead back because your finances are integrated into every part of your life. Think like, I am going to neglect my health so I can get my finances together. Okay, neglect your car. right? What will happen eventually?
Right.
Neglect your car to save a little money. You're going
Right.
to end up having to replace the engine, or the car is going to be trash anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you think that you're saving money by avoiding maintenance of parts that are needed for this to work. Likewise, neglect your money and your mental and emotional, physical health will suffer,
Yeah.
because if you're
Yeah.
not financially stable, it's hard for you to access medicine when you need it. It's hard to access medical care when you need it. It's hard to take the time off of work, right? So they're all important to each other. Like, you do have to, financial self-care begins with actual self-care, but the financial self-care is actual financial self-care is in there because it's like a cycle. They're connected to each other.
Yes. You just reminded me. So I've always wanted to grow and be better, right? And I am a staunch advocate for therapy. And I just remember conversations with therapists and them asking me about the depression and the anxiety. And I tried to tell them it's basically my finances. I was working, but I didn't see what I was doing wrong. I had zero self awareness as far as that was concerned. And I knew I had no self awareness. I knew there were things that I didn't know, but I didn't know what it was. And so I tried to tell them, I don't think this is going to get any better. It's not going to let up until my finances are in order, whatever that means. And I just remember being kind of dismissed, like they didn't know what to do with that. So coming into the class, for you to acknowledge that was so refreshing.
You know, it's so funny that you say that. Is I was doing some research because I wanted to post a video to discuss the difference, because a lot of times people get my profession confused: financial advisors and counselors and coaches and therapists and estate planners, and what are the difference between all of them. And I remember when I was doing my education to become an accredited financial counselor, one of the things that I was reading about therapists in particular is that the profession kind of disregards it. They don't have a lot of training around it. They themselves struggle with finances, so they feel incompetent in helping you around that particular problem. And so it's a root issue sometimes that they don't know how to support. And this is why I feel like a lot of times those two professions have to work in tandem, because I can have a conversation with you or with another client, and I could get to a root of something, but I'm not a counselor in that way. I'm a financial counselor, I'm not a therapist. So if we discover you're having money patterns and we realize that they're connected to some sort of trauma, some sort of feeling the need to kind of like parentify your parent, or gambling addiction or something like that, you might need therapy to work through the root of that. Like, there's some sort of abuse that happened in the past, and that's what's causing this. Now I can coach you and help you to create systems to support and to change your behaviors, but you still got to do the root work of that pain, that trauma that happened, that informed who you are today, that is causing you to make these financial problems. So you need to have that integration of therapeutic work to deal with what we pull up when we get to them roots, and the financial coaching and counseling to help you continue on your path regardless. And so you're not wrong in the experience that sometimes when you go to therapy, like sometimes the root problem comes from finances, sometimes the root problem comes from something else and it's affecting your finances. So like you would come in and be having marriage issues, but the marriage issues is about money. You might on the financial stuff, but you could be going to therapy complaining about money, but at the root of it is a sense of insecurity that you're not valuable if you don't bring something to the table. So you're burning your body out, right? And that's a different root. It is manifesting in the financial realm. And so being able to have like both pieces be able to support your journey. And this is why I always say money is not just math, it's mental health. It's the big picture. You're a whole person. Money is not the end goal. Money is just the bridge to where we want to be. It's kind of like the standard, it's the language that most of us speak when we want something, because we understand that money can get us there. We just choose that because it's the easiest path of least resistance. But there's so many ways to get to an end goal. You want joy and you think money is going to create joy, but you don't know what joy even means to you. So you burn yourself out trying to attain something you're not even really clear on yourself. And so if you don't do that root work to figure out what it is you want, why you even want it, you're not going to be able to change financial behavior because you downloaded an app, bought a book, watched a YouTube video. You're not going to be able to change it if you sit in my class and don't do the work.
That part. Yes. All of that. And as you were talking, I realized one of the other things that not only separates you and what you're doing from the other information out there is how you acknowledge our complexity. Being undiagnosed for 38 years, just living, trying my best to live life, surviving in ups and downs and roller coaster rides. I'm often told that we're overthinkers, that you putting too much into it. Just do the thing, just act. Because we constantly can't figure out what it is, that part that's missing. And then when we get diagnosed, it's like such a relief because now I have a starting point because it affects everything because it's our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so for you to acknowledge that, for you to bring in the emotion with the check-ins, the emotional, mental, spiritual parts with the financial, it's like, okay, I knew this was deeper than money. I knew it was deeper than money. I've been trying to tell people this whole time. Like, yes, I need a job, but I wanted to say it's not going to do nothing. But then I sound crazy.
Mm-hmm. Because it's complicated. Even the conversation we had in cohort 2, when you was like, I want to try to get something W-2 jobs. It was like 2 W-2 jobs or something like that. And I leaned in on the W-2 part. It seems such like a passing thing to say, like an unimportant detail. Like, can we pull back for just a quick second? I'm curious. In your case, I know you have like skill sets that in your business would make you a lot more money than you make at a W-2 job. And it's not even like it's not far accessible. It's like easily accessible to you. So I'm curious, why is it? It sounds like you say it like it's the only path for you. Where is the block here? Why does it have to be? And you was like, I feel like it does because then I would feel safe. And I said, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like you don't trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the pause of like, you said, you got all of that?
Yeah.
And you were like, that is it. I don't trust. So if it's bigger than money, if you don't trust yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, I need to make more money. But if you don't trust yourself, you are not putting yourself in the position. So even when you get the role, you're
Right.
dealing with so much self-doubt that you'll self-sabotage it.
Right.
So just to figure out a math problem, like get the higher income, is not the only part of the solution. Yes, yes, and this.
Yes.
It's
Exactly.
this and that, right? That's such a huge part of what we're doing, is helping you to have context. And I
Yeah.
love that you said that they said, well, ADHDers, we're overthinkers. You're overthinking it. My overthinking it is how I was able to come to all of the pieces that are in this program,
Mm-hmm.
as something felt like it was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember very early in my business feeling like I can get straight to the numbers and we can help and do
Mm-hmm.
these things, but there was something that felt like it was missing from
Yeah.
it. It wasn't until I went through depression and
Mm-hmm.
I went through that shutdown where I almost lost everything, where I
Mm-hmm.
could see what it was.
Yeah.
Because it can't be knowledge. I worked in finance for over 20
Yes.
years. I know what to do with money
Right.
practically. I'm
Right.
capable, competent, have done it many times, right?
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
me and for others. So what is happening that I can't seem to access it? And so studying the brain and understanding what happens to your brain when you're triggered, when you're having anxiety, when you're in a traumatic season of your life, when you're going through different things, and understanding how you can't access that part was like,
Yes.
it makes sense. And then love yourself back to wealth was born, because I knew that it doesn't matter if you read a financial book, you
Mm-hmm.
still don't love yourself, because you will self-sabotage every damn time. And
Honey.
loving yourself is not some pretty thing like I love myself. No, love is the same way a man telling you he love you don't mean
Mm-hmm.
nothing if there ain't no
Mm-hmm.
motion behind it, if he don't do
Right.
things that feel and look like love.
Right. Yeah.
Are you loving yourself? Do you advocate for yourself? Do you protect yourself from
Mm-hmm.
sabotage? Do you
Mm-hmm.
stand up for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you plan for yourself? Because don't you love a man who plan a date for you? Right?
Yeah.
Those are all signs of love, of the things you do for yourself to say, I love you so bad that I'm never going to talk to you that way. I'm going to always hold space for you. I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to invest in you. I'm going to spend money on you. I'm going to make sure that you get a good night's sleep. I'm going to make sure that you eat good. I'm going to make sure that if you need help, I ain't about to let you do this by yourself. And how long did we let ourselves do it by ourselves? That wasn't love. That wasn't love. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about where you are now, okay? Because you're taking me back to class energy right now.
That's what happens.
Where are you now compared to where you first joined the group, both in the very practical way and heart energy way as well?
Okay. I want to address the heart energy first because what the experience gave me, what learning, I needed to know what to do when I didn't have anything. I needed to know what to do when I had a little bit. I've always been planning. You know, we are some notebook writing people. Okay. We got all the notebooks. I got plans on top of plans on top of plans. I have broken it down so many times. Before I knew about a profit first, I had allotments that I found from listening to somebody because I've been trying to figure this thing out. Okay. Which is why I was like, I need this. I had to jump on it. No matter the dips and the ebbs and the flows, I don't sink down right back into the sunken place and continue to spiral when things don't go the way that I want them to go, when I don't have as much money in my account that I would like to have or need. Because now I have all this knowledge. Now I have all this wisdom that I've adopted from you. And I know that there are resources. I know that there are systems that I can put into place. You just showing us how to create a way for us to survive. If you only had to survive, what would it be that you could be without? What would it be that you would absolutely have to have? Those were the thought processes that I was needing to have this whole time. So now I go through that, and so I'm able to not be depressed and not be as anxious as I was, I'll say. Now, I probably do need some counseling on the practical part of what to do because I go back and forth because I'm a creative and I want to create, but I'm just now learning to trust myself. I invested everything into myself, but then I burnt out. So then I told myself, see, you were foolish for doing that in the first place. So now I'm unlearning that. Yeah, I used to tell myself that. And so now I'm still in the process of deconditioning that, deprogramming that. So I'm enjoying the work that I'm doing for the nonprofit. And I feel so grounded that I don't want to rush into starting entrepreneurship back up in this new place. I feel like now I can plug in the things that I did not have before. Now I can plug in systems that I needed before. And I not only want to do this right, but I'm excited to. It's kind of like I got a new man and I like him so much that I am going to hold on.
I'm not going to let him hit it. I'm going to take my time and let him hit it.
Exactly. I want to, and I love him, and I'm excited about what it's going to be. And I know it's going to be good, but I want us to be in so deep by the time that happens. I can wait.
You know what? I love this because you're making this decision. A lot of times we step into things out of fear, out of necessity. We get bullied into them. And you're not starting because of fear.
Right.
You're making this place from a place of clarity and peace. Like,
yeah.
This is absolutely something I want to do. But now I don't feel like I'm doing something out of reaction. I'm not reacting. And I'm doing this, like I need another stream of income. And so I'm going to do this, or I'm not doing it because I'm afraid I'm going to fail again. Right. You're no longer operating in fear of failure, or out of desperation, out of scarcity, out of feeling
Yes.
like the bills are not going to get paid if I don't take this action right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
I am actively moving towards it, but I'm clearly, intentionally moving towards it,
Yes.
as opposed to being drug or pushed
That's the
into
change.
it.
That's the transformation right there. Is that I'm not doing it out of desperation, and I'm not doing it from a place of lack. There's still a lot that I need, right? But I just feel so equipped. I just want to take my time and place every break.
I love this. And you know what's so funny? I don't know if you realize you did this, but when you was describing, like, I feel like I have the systems and I feel like I have the resources. You know, the three elements of, if you can remember, of being financially unfuckwittable is an unfuckwittable mindset, systems, and resources. And you describe a feeling of, if something goes wrong, you don't fear that you are going to fall into this hole that you'll never get out of. That is a feeling of feeling unfuckwittable. That life can't fuck with me and make me feel like everything's not figure outable. Will it suck? Yes. Will I have to navigate through it? Yes. But is it going to rock my world where I'm never going to recover like I felt before, where I felt like giving up? Hell no. Because I know that my mindset supports me. I have resources that I'm using, and I'm not just feeling like I got to do it by myself. I'm actually utilizing the resources to fill the gaps. And I got systems to protect me from me and to push me forward, right? You've got these things, this BC start, and you're going to continue to build on that, because you just got started with the idea of building the mindsets, building the systems, building the resources. But now you have the tools to start to figure out what does work for me, to be curious and not just accept what's given to you, which we're typically given the systems of a well-off white male in order to be able to navigate life, when that's not our reality. It's not culturally competent. Most of the financial education does not consider the Black experience in America. It's not neurotypically or divergent competency. It doesn't consider the fact that all of our brains don't work the same way, the way we organize thought. It's not trauma informed. It doesn't consider the fact that, yes, you were able to do that years ago, but then you went through a traumatic experience and your brain wiring is completely different. Your capacity to do tasks are completely different. And so having that information and context to be able to say, I am moving through life as an individual. I'm having an individual experience, and I need to create an individual solution for me. And that includes support. And I love that you are adopting this feeling, because when you describe that dip of like, I have these dips, but that I know I'm never going to get here, it reminds me of a conversation I had with my therapist when we're, talking over time of how this has been working. I say, it's not like I don't experience periods of like depression. I feel that coming, or anxiety, and these things I understand are going to come with dopamine dips and stuff like that. It's that what I feel is I don't dip as low, and I don't dip for as long.
Yes.
I can recover faster because of the support, because I've built up these tools that I've learned in therapy with managing my health. We talked about that, the exercising and the eating and all the little things to manage my ADHD. So then I'm at least protecting myself from that. I can't protect myself from everything in life, but we could do that. And the same thing with your budget. You're never going to be 100% foolproof. Who saw the pandemic coming? You could be really well prepared. Pandemic come, and that budget going to do its best, but at some point you're never going to be fully protected. But if you do the work to prepare as much as possible, then you're going to feel a lot less anxious when uncertainty comes, when we have a furlough and it's like, okay, this is going to be annoying, but I got a month ahead fund, so here's that. Like, you know what I mean? I got a little safety net so my nervous system can stay intact, because if you keep that nervous system intact, you golden. Okay, I was going to ask you, how is growth showing up in other parts of your life?
I'll tell you what, this experience, the knowledge, the resources, the tools, the relationships, has made me not only a happier person with less anxiety, it's made me a better mother. I'm able to be more present with, you're gonna make me cry. I'm able to be more present with my son because I'm not spending all my time anxious and sad and trying to do the things that I do to escape those feelings. I can look him in the face and tell him we're gonna be all right, and I can believe it. So I can enjoy him more. Yeah.
That is breaking generational curses.
Yeah.
We sometimes think the curse we need to break is directly connected to the problem that we're having. Like, I'm going to break the generational curse of poor money management. But sometimes the connections are indirect because you are breaking this curse of mismanaging yourself and your finances. It allows you to be present to break a generational curse of like the absent parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're present but not present,
Yes.
and give him something that he won't take into. That's powerful.
I believe it's made me a better friend because now I understand the value of support. When I was caught up in the middle and the thick of it, there was a point where I like to be the one to give the good advice and my opinion and all that. I didn't have the capacity for that, right? And there was a point where I just felt like I don't have anything to give. And I was wondering why people would support me because, this society is set up to be so transactional, but coming through it and understanding that we all go through things and we can get through things quicker and come out better when we have support, when we do it together. I believe that I show up in my friendships better as well.
I love that for your friends. And I love that for you because you need those relationships. We need emotional support. When we talk about you building your support system around those 4 wellness checkpoints, those relationships, if you have them, make it easier for you to build that scaffolding. A lot of people wonder if group coaching will actually work for them. Who do you think group coaching is a really good fit for? Who might especially benefit from like community?
I think the people that are pretty sure that they got ADHD, but they haven't been diagnosed, they haven't really taken it seriously, but everything that they've heard about it is they can check those boxes off internally, because either you become a part of the group and you realize my experiences are very valid. These people been going through the same thing at the same time a lot of the time. So either you validate it that way, or maybe you get around us and you hear how life is and you say, okay, that's not quite me. But the way that we have to fandangle things and create systems and break things down and make things obvious for ourselves, everybody can benefit from.
So not just the ADHDers. You feel like this is...
If organization or prioritizing has been an issue, this will be golden for those people. So there were so many times that I asked people, how do you pay your bills? And they could not give me an answer. But I thought everybody was adulting so well and doing things so good that they had the master plan and the key. They couldn't tell me.
It feels like the type of person who would benefit from this is maybe somebody who hasn't figured out a system that works for them yet.
Exactly.
They feel like
Yeah,
they've been trying things out, nothing quite.
Yeah. If you're already reading the books, if you're listening to podcasts, if you have sat down to budget and got overwhelmed, or you did make a budget and then had no idea how to stick to it, this will give you something that you can take with you. No matter whether you're unemployed or if you are thriving financially, because there's levels to it. I can't wait to get to the part where we're talking about investing. Then yes, they would benefit greatly from it.
That reminds me, in the group class, we only go through half of the guide. You guys get access to the entire guide to continue to work through long after we're done, but we only do the first half of the guide together. Tell me what the guide has meant to you, what you think about the material that's in there, and how you feel having it like after we're done.
I'm so glad you asked.
I almost forgot.
Okay, so this is mine.
You printed it out and put it in a binder. I love it.
I had to, because yay.
Put yours out so we can put it. Yeah.
Because I'm a reader and I love knowledge. But like I said, I need to touch it. I need to feel it. Whatever's after kinesthetic, like kinesthetic is probably first, but visual is probably the next best way that I learn. And so you have all these wonderful graphics of these Black women doing things and these women with natural hair and froze. I just see myself all over the guide. And not only that, but it's a reference, it's a physical reference for me.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something that I need to address in my life and I can't get a hold of you and I can't reach my friend Bestie, I can literally go back to it. I can pull this out and you give us the place where I can document every part of my progress. And for us dopamine needing people, that is very, very important. I can look back and say, actually, I did more in January than I thought I had done. And I can pat myself on the back and I can take that confidence and I can build from it. What else
Yeah.
do I love about this?
Thank you for bringing that up because that's
You're
so
welcome.
important. Sometimes we get so focused on what we didn't do,
Uh-huh.
one little thing we didn't do,
Mhm.
that we forget about the 80% of
Oh,
things
yeah.
that we got right. We do that
Oh,
as
yeah.
women. We wake up in the
Mhm.
morning and we're like, God, I ain't do da, 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 today. But did you see all the things you get done? The same thing happens in our finances. We might be hyper focused on one area, like, dang, I still haven't paid off this credit card yet or whatever, but you have advocated for a raise, you increased your salary, you
Mhm.
started contributing to your 401k, or you
Mhm.
started establishing a boundary between giving
Mhm.
with your family members, and it started taking a lot of the pressure off of you. And we forget all the little things that we did right over time. And it's
Mhm.
important that we remember that, because when confidence is built, when your brain trusts that a task is safe, it allows you to do more of it. So you have to be able to see your wins in order to make your brain feel like this is worth the
Yes,
time. Otherwise,
exactly.
you're going to procrastinate. You're going to be like,
Yeah.
not on it. So yeah, you got plenty of space in here for every quarter. And I made it where you could go, because y'all get to stay in the community for a year and be able to track your progress from quarter to quarter, to reassess the same things that we assessed in the group class together, to be able to assess them on your own. The full quiz in there, you've got it in your portal, and you also got it in your physical guide, so you could do the assessment. And to your point, everybody's different. Everybody's learning style is different. And so
Yeah.
some people like the digital versions of things, and so they like it on the screen. I have some
Mhm.
clients who have never printed these out. Like you and I, we like to write it, we like to highlight, check things
Definitely.
off, scratch things through. There's some
Yeah.
satisfaction we get from that. It really had all of your needs, your learning styles in mind in developing it. So I'm so glad that it is benefiting you the way that it is. And you know what's something I didn't think about? I knew that when I was designing it, I had this in mind for my brand in general, like placement of Black women, and Black women who look different, whose hairstyles are different, whose weights are different, because I didn't see myself. But I
Mhm.
didn't think about that because it's so integrated in my brand. I no longer think about that anymore,
Mhm.
like how you'll feel emotionally to open up a finance book and
Mhm.
see Black women throughout.
I can't fully articulate it, but I do know that every time I saw it, I gotta hit a dopamine. Every time I'm opening it, like, oh God, we gotta dive into these numbers. I gotta look at my debt. And then I see homegirl up here, she looking cute. It just does something. It's very affirming. It's very affirming.
I love that.
And then I could recognize that you cared enough, that you put enough thought into this to even do that. Because you could have just made this all black and white and be like, look, your brain might not like it, but this is what you need. Take it. I feel like this guide is.
Oh, it belongs up there with the Encyclopedia Britannica. Oh, I used to feel like we was rich and you had money.
This
Because
is so many volumes of just taking care financially, emotionally, doing the root work. That's what I feel like this is.
thank
So,
you. It's a labor of love. It is a God download. I wish I could take the credit.
it's obvious. I can't imagine that you had all this like sitting in your head. Yeah.
There's so many pieces that I developed in different iterations of my profession, but I didn't
Mhm.
have all the pieces together. And it just felt
Mhm.
like I woke up one night in my dream. God will sometimes deliver things to me in my dreams. And I just had it very clear. Like he just lined them all up. And I woke up and it was like, I couldn't, laptop. And my VA just asked me the other day how long, when did I build out this curriculum? And I was thinking to myself, like, it was maybe 2 years ago. And then I looked at my thing, I was like, oh no, it was about 6 months before I met you. It was like last year, a year
Oh
ago.
wow.
December 2024 is when I started writing it. And she was like, the level of detail that is in this, I would have thought that, and I'm like, I mean, technically it has been years in the making because so much of this content came from previous work, but the alignment felt fast. Once God gave me the vision of what was missing and how to assemble the pieces, like it felt like I had puzzle pieces that were there. And he was like, this is how they all fit in this order. My mission has always been to be for y'all what I needed and I didn't have. So when you tell me things like it allowed me to be a better mother, it takes my breath away because I was desperate to be able to be more present for my child. It was the reason I went through depression, is because I felt like I'm missing moments where she's getting bullied because I'm working myself into the ground and I'm never home. And so just to hear you say it allowed you to show up the way you want to be, it makes my whole heart happy, because that is my goal, is for y'all to have what I needed so badly that didn't exist. So I'm so proud of you. So tell me, I know why I'm proud of you. What are you most proud of yourself for in this season?
I feel like the second cohort, I got perfect attendance. Right?
Yes, you did.
I think going 1,000%, 80% of the way is a uniquely ADHD thing to do.
Very. Oh my God, that's such a good description.
And so I
will stop just shy of finishing everything. Laundry will leave two
right
articles of clothing unfolded. Go
all
ahead.
I got is my socks. All I got left to do is my socks, but they are still unmatched.
Write the whole paper and stop at the final paragraph of the report. Story of my life. Carry on with that absolutely accurate description of what it's like.
So, that being said, in the past, I felt like, I don't know why I do it, but this is just what I do. You know, like I'll miss a class, but I'll catch up. And this time, no, I was absolutely in it, locked in, as you know. What was the question, Child?
What are you proud of yourself for?
Okay. I'm proud of myself for showing up. I'm proud of myself for exercising my consistency muscle. I'm proud of myself for acknowledging, I mean, you forced me to do it, but acknowledging my small wins and the micro level victories.
And you have big victories that maybe this right here is evidence that you still don't see as big victories. The idea that you went from being in a homeless shelter, it is so easy for you to start to adopt the mindset of the people who have given up. And it could have been that for you. It could have been, I'm going to be stuck in the situation, and you could have given up. And inside of that time span, you shifted from being there to having a home of your own. It was major, monumental of a transformation, and you didn't even acknowledge that it occurred. It's like you didn't even give yourself the credit for how many little things you had to do in order for that to happen. Things that are hard when you're dealing with depression, things that are hard when you have ADHD, to follow up on a phone call, to turn a form in, to act, all the little things that are hard when you're dysregulated, that is major. And to create stability is so important. Like you said, you couldn't even lock into the class until you had the piece of your own environment. Right. So just in doing that major step, it allows you to make a lot of other micro steps and be able to maintain the stability.
You know what? I was telling Keezy yesterday, I think that there has definitely been some new neural pathway connections, because just the tedium required in that process to get from there to here, and being consistent, working with young investors as I was working in retail, and as I was doing the class, it built a muscle. And so I am no longer in the place where sitting down in front of my computer for hours makes me nauseous, makes me want to throw the laptop out the window. That's how it used to be for me. I honestly didn't think that that would ever change. Seriously.
I love that you use the word muscle, because our brains don't let us do things it thinks it can't do.
Mm,
So the
mm,
fact that you said I practice my consistency muscle,
yeah.
if you have failed it, because prior to that you delivered on 1,000% at 80%, if your brain has map of the past and it's like, well, we don't finish nothing, we start, it will make you believe that you're not a
Mm,
finisher, you're not going to finish stuff, and it makes you afraid to start a business because you're afraid you're not going to finish stuff, to start a
mhm,
class that you need because you tell yourself you're not going to finish, and
mhm,
you strengthen this muscle and you
mhm,
went all the way to the finish line. You didn't do
mhm,
1,000% at 80%. You did 1,000%, 100% of this class. You had perfect attendance. You showed up every class and you gave your brain proof that you can. Now it can't
mhm.
unknow that about you.
Yeah.
If you ever need proof that I
Mhm,
can finish something, yes, I didn't finish a bunch of other things, but I finished this, which means I know I can. And now your brain can choose, like you said, new neural pathways. Your brain can't tell the difference between your imagination and what's real. And
mhm,
if it doesn't have anything real or future thinking to attach itself to, it used the records of the past to
yeah.
decide how to feel about something. So this is why doing the vision exercises and affirmations are so powerful, because you're giving it a future thought. But
Mhm,
imagine when you've also given it a past thought that's affirming. Now
mhm,
you've given it a past record that's
mhm,
affirming on top of you doing your future thought work. Girl, that's
mm.
a homework, y'all. Get into this class, y'all. If you're watching the replay, get
That's a
into this
benediction.
class. Which you guys know, and you know, I'm always in my classes with a word from God. I'm in money ministry, okay? I don't know why he chose me as his disciple, because Lord knows I'm ratchet, but here I am doing the work of God. Here we
It's
go.
such a beautiful blend.
I just made the trailer. So the new YouTube channel is coming. It's under construction. We're going to be slowly putting some stuff out there. And I put in here, I was telling my business coaching community. So I'm in a community with a bunch of other financial coaching. I was like, my
Mhm.
audience sees I cuss, I love God. I'm both nurturing and wildly inappropriate. And my clients seem to love that special blend of chaos.
For
Um,
sure. It's very endearing.
so I want to end this real simply.
Okay.
And I'm going to say a sentence. I'm going to have two blanks in here, and I just want you to fill it in with your blank. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm such on a high from this
Me too.
conversation.
I want to run laps.
Before the program, I felt blank. After going through it, I feel blank.
Before the program, I felt uncertain, sometimes hopeless. After the program, I feel equipped and optimistic.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Lita, for sharing your story and your
My
honesty.
pleasure.
To the audience, if you have been listening and you saw yourself in any part of her experience, especially if you've been trying to do this alone, I want you to know that support doesn't always have to be private to be powerful. If you're curious about group coaching or you're not sure what kind of support makes sense for you next, I invite you to book a Q&A chat with me. You can find that link at www.youngrichRooted.com, and I'll also have it in the description in my bio or somewhere on the screen. I want to encourage you to keep growing, keep showing up for yourself, keep loving yourself back to wealth. You are on your way to becoming young, rich, and rooted. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you, Lita.
My pleasure.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
Here we go.
Dollar
Check
bill,
this shit.
yo.